Welcome back to Who Died Today USA channel. In the past few days, we have received somber news about the passing of extraordinary talents. Today's episode is dedicated to honoring their memory. Additionally, we will recap the stars we have recently lost. Before we begin, we kindly ask for your support. If this video or the legacies of these remarkable individuals have touched your life, please consider giving this video a thumbs up as a sign of respect and remembrance. Thank you. Leonard Lauder's name is etched in the story of American enterprise, not only as the visionary behind one of the world's largest cosmetics companies, but as a leader who transformed beauty into an art, and art into a gift for the world. Born in New York City in 1933 to Estée and Joseph Lauder, Leonard grew up watching his mother build a dream from jars of cream and pure determination. That dream became his life's calling. After serving as a Navy lieutenant and graduating from Wharton, he joined Estée Lauder Companies in 1958 when it was still a small family-run venture. Over the next 6 decades, Leonard led the company into the global arena. He helped launch iconic brands such as Clinique and La Mer, and in 1995, he brought Estée Lauder to the New York Stock Exchange. As president, CEO, and later chairman, he emphasized innovation, relationships, and kindness, values that made him both respected and beloved in the industry. But Leonard's reach extended far beyond business. A passionate art collector, he donated an extraordinary collection of Cubist masterpieces to the Metropolitan Museum of Art in 2013, the largest single gift in the museum's history. He also served as president and chairman of the Whitney Museum of American Art, giving both his time and a record-breaking $131 million endowment. Leonard believed in empowering others. He championed Alzheimer's research through the foundation he co-founded with his brother Ronald, and supported the fight against breast cancer. His generosity, often quiet and deeply personal, touched lives across health, education, and the arts. On June 15, 2025, Leonard passed peacefully at the age of 92. He is remembered by his wife, Judy Glickman Lauder, and his sons William and Gary. As his son William said, Leonard was a man who listened, who cared, and who believed deeply in the power of beauty. Not just in cosmetics, but in human connection. His legacy lives in every life he touched and in every act of kindness he inspired. David Hekili Kenui Bell lived a life filled with quiet meaning and heartfelt connections. From the neighborhoods of Kaimuki to the runways of Kona, he brought a genuine love for people, culture, and storytelling to everything he touched. Though known to many through his appearance in Disney's Lilo and Stitch live-action film as the cheerful, big Hawaiian dude, David's impact reached far beyond the screen. He was a man of many talents, a screen actor, a voiceover artist, a mentor, and a dedicated airport leader who made it his mission to ensure every traveler's experience felt welcoming and safe. What set David apart was his deep cultural awareness. Raised in a family that embraced Hawaiian language and traditions, he carried forward that legacy with pride. Whether speaking English, Hawaiian, or Pidgin, he had a way of making others feel seen and heard. His presence, both in person and over the airport loudspeakers, became a comforting part of daily life for many in the community. David's journey was not without challenges. He pursued acting in between long hours at the airport, often rehearsing after shifts and traveling for auditions. Yet he never lost sight of what mattered most, uplifting those around him and honoring where he came from. His performance in Hawaii 5-0 and Magnum P.I. showed not only his talent, but his deep understanding of local identity and nuance. His family, especially his sister Jaylene, shared that David passed of natural causes on June 15, 2025. In her words, he was a bright light, full of laughter, generosity, and joy. For David, success was not defined by fame, but by community, kindness, and heritage. He leaves behind a voice still echoing in the halls of Kona Airport, and memories that remain vivid in the hearts of those lucky enough to know him. His story is one of belonging and of a life well loved. Breaking news. Today, we dive into the extraordinary life of Hugh Jackman, a man whose journey through fame, physical transformation, and personal challenges has captivated millions. How does one balance global stardom with vulnerability? What does it take to face the public while privately enduring battles most would never suspect? As we explore Hugh's powerful story, think about this. Have you ever admired someone more for their honesty than their achievements? Let us know in the comments below. Hugh Jackman was born on October 12, 1968, in Sydney, Australia. The youngest of 5 children, he was raised by his father after his parents' divorce, an early experience that planted seeds of resilience and empathy. Before the world saw him as a steel-clawed superhero, he was a theater graduate with a love for performance and a quiet strength forged in family responsibility. His breakout moment came in 2000, when he stepped into the iconic role of Wolverine in X-Men. Originally meant for another actor, the part landed in Hugh's lap just weeks before filming. From that moment on, the world witnessed the rise of a cinematic titan. But success did not come without sacrifice. Have you ever watched a superhero on screen and wondered what kind of discipline it takes to look and move that way? For Hugh Jackman, it meant years of strict diet plans, punishing workouts, and immense focus. Preparing for Wolverine was not just about muscle. It was about embodying inner pain, rage, and honor. He would go on to play the role for 17 years, setting a world record for the longest portrayal of a Marvel character in live-action film. Outside the realm of mutants and claws, Jackman showcased astonishing versatility. In 2012, he took on the role of Jean Valjean in Les Miserables, a performance that earned him a Golden Globe and an Academy Award nomination. To play a prisoner-turned-saint, he lost weight, shaved his head, and embraced vocal exhaustion. This role demanded everything: his voice, his body, his soul. Then came The Greatest Showman in 2017, a film that exploded with joy, music, and color. Hugh played P.T. Barnum, capturing hearts around the world. It was not just a film, it became a cultural phenomenon. Audiences of all ages danced to "This Is Me," and for many, it became a reminder of the importance of authenticity and acceptance. Do you remember the first time you watched that performance? Did it move you? But behind the applause, Hugh faced a more private challenge. In 2013, he revealed a diagnosis of basal cell carcinoma, a common form of skin cancer. What started as a small spot on his nose turned into multiple surgeries and treatments over the years. Rather than hide it, Hugh spoke openly about his condition. He posted photos after each procedure, urging fans to wear sunscreen and get regular checkups. In doing so, he became more than a performer. He became a voice for prevention. Have you ever looked at a celebrity and thought, they seem untouchable? Hugh shattered that illusion. He showed us that vulnerability is not weakness, it is courage. In 2015, another challenge surfaced: a vocal cord hemorrhage during a tour in Turkey. For someone who uses his voice as an instrument of expression, this was a painful moment. He paused, rested, and healed, demonstrating that even superheroes need time to recover. Through it all, he never stopped evolving. In 2022, he returned to Broadway in The Music Man, receiving critical acclaim and reconnecting with his first love, live performance. Audiences once again felt his magnetic presence, reminding us that great talent never fades, it matures. Physical transformation remained a constant in Hugh's journey. Preparing to return as Wolverine in Deadpool and Wolverine at age 55, he underwent grueling workouts and calorie-loading diets that left him mentally exhausted. He admitted that the process did his head in, yet persisted because the role meant so much to fans. Have you ever pushed yourself for something greater than yourself? Hugh did it again and again, for the love of the craft and for the people watching. As his career soared, his personal life was not without heartbreak. After nearly 3 decades of marriage, Hugh and his wife Deborah Lee separated in 2023. While they parted ways amicably, the loss was deeply felt by fans who saw them as a symbol of lasting love in Hollywood. Hugh responded with grace, focusing on healing, therapy, and friendships that kept him grounded. He found solace in daily rituals, mindful walks, journaling, honest conversations with close friends like Ryan Reynolds. In a world that glorifies hustle, he learned to embrace slowness. He even made a rule to never push beyond 85% in anything he does, valuing sustainability over perfection. What would it look like if you gave yourself permission to slow down? Hugh Jackman is not just a performer, he is a teacher of resilience, a messenger of health, a reminder that greatness does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers, rest, heal, try again. His accolades are countless: a Tony Award, an Emmy, a Grammy, multiple Golden Globe nominations, and millions of hearts moved by his performances. But it is his humanity, his willingness to share pain, joy, and vulnerability that leaves the deepest mark. He has used his fame not to distance himself, but to connect more deeply. Whether through sharing his skin cancer journey, his marital changes, or his fears and anxieties, he invites us to see ourselves in him. Do you see a piece of your own story in Hugh's? Have you endured something quietly while smiling for the world? As Hugh Jackman continues forward, through new films, stage performances, and quiet walks between shoots, he carries with him a legacy that is more than talent. It is presence. It is authenticity. It is love. We celebrate Hugh not just for what he brings to the screen, but for what he brings to life: courage to speak, strength to endure, and joy to perform. If this story touched you, share your favorite Hugh Jackman moment in the comments. Was it his final scene in Logan? A live performance? A quiet message about sunscreen? Let us honor this remarkable man together. And if you believe more stories like this need to be heard, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and join us in celebrating the resilience, humility, and humanity behind Hollywood's brightest stars. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being Brian Wilson was born on June 20th, 1942, in Inglewood, California. Just a stone's throw from the Pacific coast, he would later mythologize in song. From his earliest days, music stirred something deep within him. As a co-founder of the Beach Boys in 1961, he helped shape a sound that would come to define the spirit of American youth and sunshine. Through the 1960s, Brian composed a string of unforgettable hit songs: Surfin' USA, California Girls, and the lush Good Vibrations. But it was Pet Sounds, 1966, that cemented his legendary status. With its intricate harmonies and emotional depth, it influenced icons like the Beatles and continues to be hailed as one of the greatest albums ever. Brian's brilliance lay in his ability to blend the everyday joys of teenage life with moments of transcendent beauty. Songs like God Only Knows felt like private prayers set to melody, hymns in disguise, offering comfort and connection. Yet behind the music, Brian faced immense struggles. Driven by high expectations and family pressures, he stepped away from touring in 1964. Soon after came periods of intense isolation, creative breakthroughs countered by mental health challenges. He wrestled with moods and self-imposed solitude, battles he fought quietly while giving the world some of its most unforgettable melodies. In later years, Brian found healing in revisiting his unfinished work. In 2004, he released Brian Wilson Present Smile, realizing an artistic dream decades in the making. His final live performance came in July 2022 in Michigan. a poignant farewell from a man who gave so much of himself to music. Brian Wilson passed away peacefully on June 11, 2025, at the age of 82, following complications related to dementia, and after the passing of his wife earlier that year. His final act and his courage to create beauty remain an enduring gift to us all. From the moment the world first took its breath at the sight of that iconic image, one thought lingered. Here was a woman who transcended mere modeling. She was performance, art, and liberation all in one. Born in Los Angeles in 1937, Peggy Moffitt grew up in Hancock Park, with dreams of acting that soon evolved into something far more revolutionary. In the early 1960s, she patched together a new identity as the muse and collaborator of avant-garde designer Rudi Gernreich. With her sculpted Vidal Sassoon bob, bold eye makeup, and theatrical presence, Peggy didn't just model clothes, she inhabited them, danced in them, and performed them. It was in 1964 that her career reached its zenith. Photographed by her husband, William Claxton, she donned Rudi's topless swimsuit, a daring design so provocative that it was banned in multiple countries and castigated in Soviet media. But for Peggy, it was never about shock value. "I didn't really model the clothes so much as perform them," she later explained, reminding us that she saw each ensemble as an act, each runway as a stage. Her acclaim only grew. She graced the cover of Time magazine in 1967, and her magnetism took her into Michelangelo Antonioni's Blow Up. That same year, William Claxton created the short film Basic Black, often cited as the first fashion film, where Peggy's lithe movements and grace gave life to avant-garde design, offering a glimpse into fashion's emerging narrative power. Yet even as the spotlight brightened, Peggy remained quietly candid about the pressures of fame. She admitted that although she desired the freedom to express, she also recoiled from being consumed by attention. It was only in safe space that she could do these wild and crazy things, fueled by creativity and support. In her final years, Peggy faced the tender challenges of dementia, passing away in August 2024. Though her journey ended gently, her legacy continues to resonate. For an older audience who remembers the thrill of the 1960s, Peggy's life stands as a testament to authenticity and artistic courage. She didn't just model, it was her performance that shaped an era, reminding us that the truest art is found in bold reinvention and the courage to express ourselves fully. Douglas McCarthy had an unmistakable presence from the moment he took the mic. Born on September 1, 1966, in London, he found his muse early when he co-founded Nitzer in 1982, alongside school friends. With his deep, commanding voice and raw energy, McCarthy helped redefine what electronic music could be: stripped down, confrontational, and profoundly human. From the start, Nitzer drew on post-punk and industrial influences, cutting guitars and bass in favor of cold rhythmic synths. Their debut album, That Total Age 1987, set the tone, and tracks like Join the Chant powered its way into the US dance charts at number 9, proof that their uncompromising vision resonated on dance floors and in the hearts of an audience seeking something more intense and visceral. Touring with Depeche Mode, collaborating with Recoil, and releasing hits like Fun to Be Had, McCarthy and his band continued to push musical boundaries, always seeking to surprise listeners. Yet behind the fierce stage persona was a man who faced serious struggles. In March 2024, McCarthy stepped away from touring after being diagnosed with liver cirrhosis, a condition stemming from years of alcohol use. This struggle came after more than 2 years of sobriety, a testament to his courage and determination, even when his body demanded a reprieve. Throughout it all, he spoke honestly about recovery and the long path it demands. Douglas passed away on June 11, 2025, at the age of 58. His journey reminds us that great art often comes from passion and conflict, from struggle as much as success. For older fans who witnessed the rise of electronic music, his story is deeply personal, a tale of triumph, challenge, and resilience. In the end, McCarthy never lost sight of what made Nitzer unique. As he once said, "We worked exceptionally hard, and even if there are missteps, the purity of what we were trying to get is indicative of the time and place." That purity, that intensity, is his legacy, an icon of strength, creativity, and authenticity in music's ever-evolving story. Bob Brier, the steadfast drummer behind My Chemical Romance's rise to fame, left an unforgettable mark on the world of rock music and in the hearts of many. Born in 1976, Brier found his path early, working as a sound engineer for acts like Thrice and The Used. It was during one of these tours that fate intervened. He met My Chemical Romance, and in a bold move, left behind a steady job to join a band that was raw, restless, and hungry. From 2004 to 2010, he held the rhythmic pulse of a band on the brink of legend. His most notable achievement came with 2006's The Black Parade, a deeply emotional concept album that resonated across generations. Brian's own words about playing a sold-out Madison Square Garden show echo the wonder many felt alongside him, proof that sometimes daring to leap can bring you to unimaginable heights. Yet life's journey was never without hurdles. Brier stepped away from the group before Danger Days was released, choosing solitude over the spotlight and stepping back from touring in 2021 after years behind the drums took their toll on his wrists. He spoke candidly of his need to pause and heal, showing the same courage that defined his onstage persona. On November 26, 2024, the world learned that Bob had passed away. He was found at home, surrounded by reminders of a life full of creativity and determination. Though the medical examiner's report described the cause as undetermined, the truth remains: the music he left behind will forever beat on in the hearts of those who loved it. He was just 44, a reminder of how fleeting life can be, and how deeply someone can influence a community in such a brief time. Beyond the drummer's seat, Bob Brier was a friend, a collaborator, and a craftsman who poured his soul into every performance. His legacy is louder than any drumbeat. It's the courage to follow your passion, the joy of unforgettable performances, and the quiet grace to step away when life demands reflection. For the many who remember The Black Parade, it's not just an album, it's a piece of Bob's heart drummed into the shared soundtrack of our lives. Peter Mion was a quiet yet brilliant force behind some of the most enduring sounds of the early 1980s. Born in the United States, he built a reputation as a versatile talent: musician, songwriter, recording engineer, A&R executive, and celebrated producer. But it was his work producing Men at Work's landmark albums Business as Usual, 1981, and Cargo, 1983, that truly brought him into the spotlight. These records not only launched a band, but also changed the musical landscape. Thanks to Mion's ear for melody and rhythm, iconic hits like Who Can It Be Now, Down Under, and Overkill soared to the top of the charts around the world. His skillful production earned him recognition as Cashbox Magazine's Producer of the Year in 1982. Mion's influence didn't stop there. He brought his touch to the Australian rock group Mondo Rock and helped shape Mr. Mister's debut album, I Wear a Face. As a songwriter, his talents appeared on tracks for artists like Pat Benatar and Barbra Streisand. He even recorded his own music. His solo album, Playing Near the Edge, 1980, featured his original compositions, including the song Clear Sailing. In the mid-1980s, Mion formed a studio-based ensemble called The City. Their album Foundation and the single Planets in Motion resonated strongly with American listeners and earned airplay on radio stations across the country. He faced his share of challenges, navigating the high stakes of record success, adapting to constant change in the music business, and maintaining his creative vision. Yet he channeled these pressures into art, leaving an unmistakable mark on the songs he touched. On April 24, 2025, Peter Mion passed away at the age of 78. While the announcement did not specify the cause of his passing, the music community paused in respect for a man whose impact was both profound and personal. Peter Mion leaves behind a legacy defined not by flashy fame, but by craftsmanship, authenticity, and a deep love for sound. In studios filled with analog tapes and bright ideas, he found, and helped others find, their voice. His work lives on in the warm grooves of classic records and in the hearts of listeners touched by his timeless artistry. Arthur Hamilton, the gifted composer and lyricist behind the timeless torch song Cry Me a River, left us on May 20, 2025, in Los Angeles at the age of 98. Born in Seattle on October 22, 1926, Hamilton grew up in a household filled with musical voices. His father a film orchestrator and his mother a lyricist. He moved to Los Angeles as a baby and learned piano at home, later citing cabaret legend Bobby Short as his greatest teacher. "I didn't go to college. I went to Bobby Short." His breakthrough came in 1955, when he wrote 3 songs for the film Pete Kelly's Blues: Cry Me a River, Sing a Rainbow, and He Needs Me. Though Ella Fitzgerald recorded the song for the film, it was his high school prom escort Julie London, then working on her debut album, who made it a hit at number 9 on the Billboard charts. The song's emotional honesty and haunting refrain, "Now you say you're lonely, well, you can cry me a river," have resonated for generations. London's recording, supported only by guitar and bass, became iconic and earned a place in the Library of Congress's National Recording Registry in 2015. Hamilton's talent didn't stop at torch songs. In 1970, he earned an Academy Award nomination for Till Love Touches Your Life, written for the film Madron. He also earned Emmy nods in the early 1990s for his work on Blind Spot and The Corpse Had a Familiar Face. His skill in weaving melody and emotion shone in songs like Sing a Rainbow, which crossed over to become a children's standard, and classics recorded by Peggy Lee, Bobby Darin, Barbra Streisand, Ray Charles, Ella Fitzgerald, Joe Cocker, Michael Bublé, and Aerosmith. Throughout his nearly 8-decade career, Hamilton faced the challenges of an evolving industry, but remained true to his craft, balancing artistic integrity with heartfelt expression. He is survived by his wife Joyce and daughter Claudia. Arthur Hamilton's legacy lives on in heartfelt lyrics and unforgettable melodies that continue to reach deep into our hearts. Rosanna Norton, born Rosanna White in Los Angeles in 1944, brought a painter's heart to the art of costume design. A UCLA painting student by inclination, she discovered her true calling on the set of Cisco Pike in 1971 and quickly blossomed into one of Hollywood's most gifted costume designers. Over the next 40 years, Rosanna crafted unforgettable looks that helped define both character and era. She gave Sissy Spacek's Carrie prom dress a haunting simplicity, a pale satin creation that remains memorable to this day. In Tron, she wove futuristic elegance into practical fantasy, earning her not just acclaim, but an Oscar nomination and a Saturn Award. Her exceptional range carried her through productions as varied as Badlands, Phantom of the Paradise, Airplane, Inner Space, RoboCop 2, Casper, The Flintstones, and more than 50 feature films, each marked by her subtle sense of storytelling and meticulous attention to detail. Behind the scenes, Rosanna approached every project with warmth and generosity. Colleagues fondly remember how her insightful guidance and kind spirit elevated the work of everyone on set. Whether on a shoestring budget or a lavish blockbuster, she used costume to convey emotion, mood, and depth, ensuring each garment became part of the story in a meaningful way. In her late career, Rosanna made a graceful exit from filmmaking and returned to her first love, painting. Those final years were filled with the quiet joy of creative freedom, as she painted on canvas rather than adorned actors. Rosanna faced life's most difficult challenge with grace and privacy. She passed peacefully at home in Los Angeles on May 7, 2025, following a battle with cancer, just shy of her 81st birthday. Though she has left this world, she leaves behind 2 children, 5 grandchildren, and an enduring legacy that transcends credits and accolades. Rosanna Norton reminded us that clothing is not just a layer, it's a whisper of the soul. Her work will continue to speak to us, to move us, and to remind us of the power of artistry and heart. Renee Victor, born on July 25, 1938, in San Antonio, Texas, charmed audiences for over 6 decades with her warmth, talent, and grace. A dedicated artist and devoted family woman, she passed away at 86 in her Sherman Oaks home on May 30, 2025, surrounded by loved ones, after a courageous battle with lymphoma. Renee's journey began in the vibrant world of Latin music and dance in 1960s Los Angeles. As one half of the performing duo, Ray and Renee, often likened to the Latin Sonny and Cher, she played salsa and tango with flair alongside her husband worldwide. She brought that same passion and presence to her TV hosting role on KTLA's Pacesetters, a groundbreaking series that celebrated the voices and stories of the Chicano power movement. After joining the Screen Actors Guild in 1973, Renee brought her charisma to film and television. In the 1980s, she portrayed unforgettable characters on Scarecrow and Mrs. King and Matlock, and later found a loyal audience as Florina Lopez on ER. Her film career included supporting roles in The Doctor, The Apostle, and A Night in Old Mexico, collaborating with esteemed actors such as William Hurt and Robert Duvall. In 2017, Renee achieved one of her most heartfelt successes. She became the voice of Abuelita in Disney Pixar's Coco. In that role, she gave life to a character whose warmth, wisdom, and unwavering love resonated deeply with viewers worldwide. Her rich performance touched the hearts of generations, and she will forever be remembered for bringing Abuelita's gentle spirit to screens everywhere. Renee also made memorable appearances in TV series, including Weeds, Vida, Gentified, Mion's MC, Snowpiercer, and Dead to Me. Her talents extended across genres, always infused with empathy and authenticity. Renee is survived by her daughters, Raquel and Margot, and the many friends and fans who adored her. She will be deeply missed, but her legacy shines brightly in every role she embraced, every song she sang, and every life she touched. Susan Buckner, whose effervescent performance as the spirited Rydell High cheerleader Patty Simcox in the beloved 1978 musical Grease captured the hearts of audiences everywhere, passed away on May 2, 2025. Born on January 28, 1952 in Seattle, Washington, she was 72. At just 25, Susan burst onto the big screen alongside John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John, bringing boundless energy and authentic small-town warmth to her portrayal of Patty. Her iconic cheer, "Do the splits, give a yell, show a little spirit for old Rydell," echoes fondly in the memories of fans decades later. Susan's vivacity and charm made her one of the most memorable faces in a cast full of legend. Beyond Grease, Susan built a varied career on both stage and screen. She appeared on beloved television series such as The Love Boat, BJ and the Bear, and The Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew Mysteries, and had a supporting role in Wes Craven's Deadly Blessing, 1981, opposite Sharon Stone. She also starred in the ABC sitcom When the Whistle Blows and brought laughter to audiences in Police Academy 6, City Under Siege in 1989. Born a crowned Miss Washington in 1971, Susan entered the Miss America pageant, evolving from beauty pageants into dancing in Dean Martin's Gold Diggers troupe, performing on The Dean Martin Show, and even taking to the waters as a synchronized swimmer on the Brady Bunch Variety Hour. Her diverse talents and dedication to performance showcased her true artistry. Later in life, Susan poured her heart into nurturing young performers. In Coral Gables, Florida, she taught dance at Body and Soul Gym and directed children's theater productions, inspiring countless students with the same passion she brought to all her work. She is survived by her children, Adam Josephs and Samantha Mansfield, 4 grandchildren, her sister Linda, daughter-in-law, son-in-law, and longtime partner, Al. Susan Buckner's light will continue to shine through her joyful performances and the many lives she touched in person. She will be remembered for her talent, kindness, and unfailing spirit, true Rydell High pride in every way. Phyllis Depiciato, the visionary who brought the magic of cinema to Santa Barbara's doorstep, passed away on April 14, 2025, at the age of 84, following heart failure. Born in Chicago in 1940, she moved to Los Angeles as a teenager and later earned degrees at Northwestern and UCLA, demonstrating from an early age her keen intellect and determination. Her passion for film bloomed while working at the Lemel Art House Theaters in Los Angeles, where she curated themed film series, invited filmmakers like Akira Kurosawa and Agnes Varda for discussions, and established herself as a respected voice in independent cinema. Despite skepticism from some in the industry, Phyllis never wavered in her commitment to bringing quality storytelling to wider audiences. She turned that dream into reality. In 1983, after relocating to Santa Barbara, she pitched a bold idea during a casual dinner party, a world-class film festival in her new hometown. With the support of local civic leaders and theater owner Bruce Corwin, Phyllis launched the first Santa Barbara International Film Festival in 1986. Featuring red carpet premieres, guest panels, retrospectives, and festive gatherings, the festival quickly earned a coveted spot on the awards season circuit. It grew from a modest weekend to an acclaimed 11-day celebration of global cinema, a testament to her unwavering focus on detail and her deep respect for film craft. Throughout her life, Phyllis faced the usual obstacles that come with building something from scratch: funding challenges, logistical hurdles, and occasional resistance from experts. Yet she embraced every setback as an opportunity to refine her vision. Her extraordinary tenacity, creative spirit, and insistence on excellence shaped a legacy that far transcends her own efforts. Phyllis's greatest joy came from nurturing community through film, inspiring audiences, filmmakers, and volunteers alike. She is survived by her husband, Stan Roden, daughters Leonie and Natalie, stepsons Grant and BJ, and a loving circle of grandchildren. Though Phyllis may no longer walk among us, the glow of projector light, the hush before a gripping dialogue, and the thrill of a premiere remain her legacy, living on in every story brought to life on the silver screen by the festival she founded so long ago. Sophie Nevada was a gentle soul whose life, though short, left a lasting mark on those who had the privilege to know her. Born in Burlington, Vermont, in 2000, Sophie found herself equally at home on the snowy slopes, where she was a passionate snowboarder by age 5, and on the camera sets that would come to define her early life. As a child actor, she appeared in notable films such as Mammoth, 2009, alongside Gael Garcia Bernal and Michelle Williams, and Darren Aronofsky's Noah, 2014. It was clear that Sophie found peace and purpose on film sets, where she flourished in the creative warmth of cast and crew. By the time she turned 24, Sophie had become known not just for her talent, but for her kindness, artistic spirit, and adventurous heart. She loved learning languages, exploring new cultures, and filling journals with intimate drawings and personal musings. Those journals, her obituary shared, became emotional roadmaps of her inner life, an honest glimpse into her brilliance as well as the challenges she carried. Tragically, Sophie died in a wooded area near Vermont on April 14, 2025, at just 24 years old. The death certificate noted she was pregnant, and authorities are investigating, but her loved ones shared that she had been self-medicating to cope with deep emotional pain. Despite the support of family, friends, therapists, and even law enforcement, Sophie bravely insisted she could handle her struggles alone, a decision that proved heartbreaking. Sophie left behind a legacy much larger than her film credits. She was a beloved daughter, sister, aunt, friend, and for a brief moment, mother-to-be. Though her life ended far too soon, her story reminds us of the urgent need for compassion, connection, and community. In her memory, friends asked for donations to Rain, reflecting their hope that her experience might inspire healing and greater care for others in need. Sophie's spark, brilliant, fragile, and deeply human, remains as a call to cherish one another, to listen, and to reach out before it's too late. Breaking news. Today, we share the astonishing story of Charlie Sheen, an actor whose life has played out like a Hollywood saga, a tale of meteoric success, public unraveling, private battles, and courageous reinvention. When a star at the highest heights faces the depths of struggle, what happens next can redefine both image and legacy. Join us on this emotional journey and let us know in the comments. Have you ever witnessed someone rise again after a downfall? Carlos Erwin Estevez was born on September 3, 1965 in New York City, into a household steeped in the arts. His father, Martin Sheen, was already established as one of America's leading actors, and his brother, Emilio Estevez, had built a formidable reputation in the 1980s. But Charlie yearned to stand on his own. With quiet resolve, he adopted Sheen as his professional surname and set a course that would test the limits of glamour and grace. In his earliest years, Charlie took minor roles in the 1970s, learning his craft in theater workshops and small parts. It was Oliver Stone's casting of him as Private Chris Taylor in 1986's film about the Vietnam War, Platoon, that first drew widespread attention. In that performance, one could see raw fear and genuine vulnerability of a young man dropped into chaos. Audiences had never seen someone so real, so human. A few years later, Sheen emerged again as Bud Fox in Wall Street, playing an ambitious young broker caught in the moral confusion of greed and loyalty. Once again, he brought intensity and emotional depth that resonated beyond the silver screen. Throughout the late 1980s and into the 1990s, Sheen continued to display his range. He slipped into supporting roles in beloved films like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and fronted ensemble casts in movies such as Major League and Seven. By the turn of the millennium, another transformation awaited. Television called. In 2000, when Michael J. Fox stepped away from Spin City, Charlie Sheen stepped in. He did so with ease and nuance, even earning a Golden Globe for his performance. But it was his next move that brought him to the apex of fame. In 2003, he became Charlie Harper on 2.5 Men, a sitcom that embraced his cocky charm, acerbic wit, and yet unmistakable vulnerability. Millions tuned in weekly. At the height of its popularity, Sheen earned approximately $1.8 million per episode, making him television's highest-paid actor at the time. His face graced magazine covers, talk shows, and entertainment pages everywhere. He was everywhere. And then, cracks began to show. Off-camera, whispers of substance issues and erratic behavior started circulating. By early 2011, the whispers became roars. In shocking interviews, Sheen proclaimed he had tiger blood and was winning. He spoke of conspiracies and feuds. Above all, he launched a blistering assault on Chuck Lorre, the creator of the series he had built his television legacy on. Readers and viewers watched in widening disbelief as this once polished picture of charm tumbled into chaos. Within months, the show that had defined him ended its relationship with him. Headlines screamed that he had been fired, that he had sued for wrongful termination to the tune of $100 million, and that the man who once embodied success was destroying himself on camera. The fall was public, brutal. Headlines proclaimed, "Charlie went off the rails," as the man who had once commanded audiences now captivated them with his meltdown. It would have been easy to fade away, to retreat and disappear from the spotlight. But Charlie Sheen did the unexpected. He kept going. In 2012, he landed a role in Anger Management, a series that bore frightening resemblance to real life. Once again, he played a man wrestling with his own demons, this time with his emotions, his impact on others, and his desire to change. Many saw irony in the casting, others saw courage. The show ran for a couple of seasons and offered a glimpse of the man rebuilding, brick by emotional brick. Still acting in films like Machete Kills, 9/11, and more obscure titles, Sheen walked a path off the beaten track. Critics sometimes scoffed, others looked past the flash. He kept showing up in interviews, more measured now, quieter. No more tiger blood, but hints of a man attempting authenticity, even in flawed form. Then, in November 2015, he dropped a bombshell. He was HIV positive. The news stunned the public. Sheen calmly disclosed that he had been diagnosed around 2011, kept it secret to avoid shame and blackmail, and was ready to face the consequences. His admission was devoid of melodrama. No tearful reveals, no self-pity, just truth in a public forum. The reaction was astounding. HIV testing spiked across the country. The Charlie Sheen effect, as it came to be called, opened conversations, dismantled stigma, sparked empathy. All stemming from one man's decision to stop hiding. It was a profound moment of courage. Sheen's path to disclosure reflected the complexity of human experience, the shame, the fear, the desire for privacy, and finally, the moment when integrity wins. For someone whose image has bled across tabloid headlines, this moment became not about scandal, but about moral clarity. But another transformation was still ahead. In 2017, after a public misstep that prevented him from being the parent he wanted to be, an embarrassment that could not be ignored, Sheen stopped drinking. Completely. He spoke in interviews about the shame of failing his children, but also about the resolve to never let it happen again. He embraced sobriety, physical health, mental clarity, early workouts, quiet mornings, presence for his daughters, no dramatic pronouncements, just consistent steps forward. It has not been a linear journey. In 2025, old wounds surfaced again. After Sheen disclosed his health condition, his eldest daughter, Sammy, spoke publicly of feeling hurt by the way she learned the news, from the media, not her father. She lamented feeling blindsided. It was a moment that reopened a wound, forcing Sheen to face the impact of his choices. He has since expressed regret and has been working to rebuild trust and deepen communication. And then there were allegations from decades past, claims of misconduct brought into public consciousness in 2020. The weight of legacy pressed deep. Sheen denied the accusations. No legal case followed. But the public gaze did not soften. Critics reminded him that reinvention must contend with the full truth, even when time has passed. Yet, in 2023, another quiet surprise. Charlie Sheen and Chuck Lorre came together again on the series Bookie. 3 years after his public departure, he rejoined the man he once slammed in the media. It was not a triumphant reconciliation, but a measured, meaningful reunion. A step in a larger dance of humility and continuity. At present, Sheen is not the tabloid omnipresence he once was. He is not a private recluse either. He is at times measured, reflective, and trying to remain present. He acts, yes, but without the fanfare. He appears in interviews, occasionally speaks of personal experience, but without seeking the spotlight. He has found a sustainable rhythm, one grounded in accountability, sobriety, and a desire to show up reliably for his children, for his craft, and for himself. In this journey, Charlie Sheen reminds us that identity is never fixed. It shifts as we face our choices, our failures, and our comebacks. Many have tasted his fall. Fewer have lived to stand up again. Fewer still have endured to keep walking. The man who once declared he was unstoppable is now a man who knows fragility. The actor who declared he was winning now lives to prove himself through stillness, consistency, and grace. Watching him reminds us that growth often happens not in loud declarations, but in daily reclamation. We want to hear from you. What part of Charlie Sheen's journey resonates most deeply with you? Was it the admission of living with a health condition? His decision to embrace sobriety for his kids? His quiet return to television and professionalism? Tell us in the comments. If Charlie's story inspired you to consider your own resilience, please like and share so that others may see the beauty of broken becoming whole again. Thank you for staying with us as we shop the layers of a life, furious, fallen, but rising.